This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
You're listening to the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. And now, here's your host, Lisa Rangel.
Welcome and hello. Welcome to the 42nd episode of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. I'm Lisa Rangel, host of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast and founder of Chameleon Resumes. We are an executive resume writing, LinkedIn profile development, and job search consultancy firm that helps executives and high potential leaders land their next position faster. And on today's episode, we're going to outline 6 steps for you to take to position yourself to land or maintain an executive role. The higher level the job, the more risk a company assumes. And at this point, the job is less about just generic qualifications and more about people skills, leadership qualities that bring results. This terrain can be tricky. It sometimes can be more subjective. I mean, the results part is concrete, but how you get there can sometimes be subjective and open to interpretation. However, by implementing our tips, you'll increase your chances of moving from an executive role to a C-suite role, or from a mid-management role to an executive role, or maintaining what you have. That's the key. So we're going to jump into 6 steps for you to be able to do this. So first, you want to make sure that you can work and have worked with different departments. In order to be a top executive of a large organization, it's important that you learn to work with different departments. As a C-level executive, as a high-level executive, you would no longer be responsible for just the sector that you grew up in initially. Now you'd be creating strategies for the company as a whole. You need to have the buy-in from everyone that works for that organization. It's why it's so imperative that you know how the different departments work and how they work cohesively. You'll also want to beef up your skills in various areas that aren't necessarily your intuitive place to gravitate towards. For example, if you're more involved in the financial sector, definitely look into how sales and marketing teams work. The other way around as well. So build rapport with managers from different departments. They'll be able to support you, sponsor you, put in a good word for you, because they'll see that you have their interests in mind. That's the key. So next, develop the leadership qualities needed at this level. Leadership qualities are truly what separate mid-level managers from those in the executive and C-level roles. It can be easy to manage people, but it's not easy to lead people. Leadership takes vision. It's something that people want to follow. You need to be able to generate that thing that people want to follow. It also takes the ability of moving a big group then towards that vision, not even just one person. So as such, it's your job to start taking more responsibility in this area. It doesn't simply mean executing campaign strategies or product strategies that were handed to you from a particular area. It means creating them. It means finding the people that then can create them and make your vision happen. So it's leadership of people and leadership to attract the right people to create these initiatives that work across the board. So next, you want to build relationships with these top managers. Again, it's easy to manage, it's hard to lead. And the lead aspect of it comes from being able to build relationships. So if you're buying for C-level positions, your chances of getting that role may rely more heavily on how you and the C-suite leadership interact and relate than sometimes even on qualifications. You can be fully qualified, but if you do not have solid relations with this C-suite team or the potential that it can happen, regardless of how qualified you are, if people feel like they can't work with you or relate to you or that you're going to understand them, your candidacy may stop short. So if you've made it this far in your quest, obviously you're qualified. So now at typically a stage where they're looking to make the decision to make an offer, it really comes down to, can everyone work together? Can you all achieve the company goals together and be able to work in a harmonious way? So it can also help, based on your relationship building skills, if you're sponsored by a top executive to be promoted at this level. So again, this can be more subjective and it can have a lot to do with your personality, your rapport building skills, your reputation. However, this is a skill set to manage, is your relationship building skills with top managers. So find a way to get to know the team and increase your exposure to them and understand what they are moving forward with and how you can support them. And that will allow you to get into that role. Next, take international assignments. So if you are targeting C-suite or executive roles in multinational organizations, be sure to take on multinational jobs or assignments or projects, even short-term projects, as often as you can. Your credibility with future staff in those geographic regions will increase if they know that you've experienced work life from more than one country. Next, track, even anticipate what your competitors are doing. To stay ahead of the pack, you always need to be aware of what the rest of the pack is doing. Attend conferences, conventions, professional organization meetings. Have one-on-one conversations with key industry individuals to keep your due diligence on your competitors current and consistent. Successful C-level leaders, executives minimize the surprises from competitors, if not even totally eliminating them, with continuous corporate reconnaissance. You need to maintain this and never take anything for granted or never rest on your laurels. Lastly, stay ahead of demographic trends. This to me is really the big thinking. It's imperative to stay curious, stay ahead of what demographic trends are doing. This way you can forecast how your company can serve the growing demographics and their buying patterns and their habit patterns. And this way you're also ensuring that your company is not stuck with the mission of serving only shrinking markets. Because if your market is shrinking, so is your revenue typically and your profits. C-level roles and executive level roles are all about anticipation and strategy. And this is where this type of thinking starts. Are you able to execute these steps on your own? Do you find that when you hear these 6 steps, you are excited, or are you a little bit in fear because you're not sure how to do this? So if you answered no, that you can't do these on your own, or that you're in fear, then you will want to hire us for personal guidance on how to elevate this aspect of your career to get the next role or maintain what you have for continuous executive job level security. So go to executivejobsecurity.com, invest in our executive job security program to work with our team of career performance coaches who can show you how to market yourself in this way, in these 6 steps, so you can stay on the radar and actively go after these high-level roles and maintain what you have. This way you don't have to do it alone, and you can maximize your efforts and minimize your time spent doing these activities by doing it right the first time. Our career coaching resource is found at executivejobsecurity.com. And in past episodes, we talked about the only way to truly protect yourself from job loss is to pretend you're fired today and make a list of the activities you would do to start finding your next job. This is a key element in the Pretend You're Fired Today action list. We want you to be in demand when you need it. So you need to create the demand before you need it. This way, if your job situation changes unexpectedly, you already have pent-up demand for what you do by doing these actions that I'm showing you here today. So for the next few episodes of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, we're going to continue to go through a list of tactics and activities to do now, as if you were let go today, to ensure that you are always employable, get hired fast into your next role, and you're always ready for whatever the world brings your way. The first item on our Pretend You're Fired Today action list is getting your resume up to speed, and we cover that in episodes 1 through 8. And the second item on that list was updating your profile, which you can review in episodes 9 through 12. You'll want to revisit those episodes to make sure those documents are up to speed. And in the last 24 or so episodes, some of the topics we've covered are how to work with recruiters, how to answer salary questions for interviews and performance review periods so you can get raises. We've also talked about the ABCs of job security. These are episodes you're going to want to go back to and revisit and listen. I'm so proud of you for carving this time out for yourself and taking these steps to making yourself marketable before you need it. Most people wait and they think, it won't happen to me. And then boom, that unexpected job change happens. And then they're scrambling to learn this information to try to learn and get their network up to speed to try to land a job quickly. And it doesn't often happen quickly when that's the case, because you just need time to do this. So kudos to you for taking the time now proactively and learning this and doing it before you need it. This will help you stay employable. Being employable nowadays is not about staying in the same job for 30 years. Being employable nowadays is about always being able to land your next role fast. So that's the key. My friend saved me with her priceless advice, pretend you're fired today, and I'm paying it forward with you. And I ask you to pay this sentiment forward, share it with as many executives and rising professionals who you feel would benefit from this build it before you need it advice. Doing the steps suggested in this episode will help you get promoted or maintain the position you have currently in that high-level role. So in the next episode, we're going to discuss specific tactics to take to get promoted. I will make this path very clear for you. You won't want to miss the next episode. And in the interim, if you want personalized coaching for your career to help you with these steps that we discussed today, or to help you with another area that you're struggling with in your career, go to executivejobsecurity.com and hire us to help you directly to make sure you have continuous employability in your career. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Be well.
This is the podcastfactory.com.